All right, guys, I'm back. I'm going to show you how to break down this hind quarter. Just a second. All right. Now, boneless is the way to go. Then you can save your marrow bones for something cool, like you make bone broth. That's what I like to do, or you can roast your bones or whatever you're giving to your dog. But okay, simple start. Cut the Achilles tendon. All right, now you're going to go from this ball socket with a straight line cut from there right here to the knee. There's kind of you can see the seam there kind of. You just kind of follow that. And then you just work on peeling that meat away from the bone. First, I forgot, you come down here and break off your shank meat. Unless you want your shanks, then don't do that. All right. Alright, just free up that ball socket or the ball joint. Alright, and then peel off the rest of your shank meat. Personally, I'm not a fan of shanks. Some people are. I like to just throw it into the grind. We slow cooked the shank before. It's good, but for me, it's easier to throw it into the grind pile. Now, I left a little bit of meat on there. Like I said, I like to roast these and make my own bone broth. So we'll put those off to the side. Okay, we got trim pile over here. Cut this in handy grinder size pieces. All right. So there's a boneless hind quarter. Now the first thing you're going to do, right here, you're going to peel the rest of this shank meat out. It follows right along. There's a seam right on the bottom of that roast. There's the rest of your shank meat. Once again, throw that into my grind pile. Okay, now you can just start seaming this out. You're going to get 4 main roasts out of this hind quarter. It's pretty simple. You just peel this one back. You just follow that seam. There's one. Then you follow this seam right here. Basically just goes straight down. You can cut the top of that. There's your knuckle. Top sirloin. Now, it's up to you what you use from here. Personally, I like to leave this as a big roast. I'll peel that chunk of fat off and then make good barbecue fodder or crock pot. Actually, I threw one of last year's in the crock pot this morning, so that'll be ready when I get home. All right, peel that fat off. There's your top sirloin. Throw that in my wrapping bin. Take some of this fat off of this guy. Deer tallow is just too waxy to deal with eating too much of it. There's a gland right there you want to get out. You don't have to. You can get out later. Don't really matter. All right, now I take that little fat cap off right there. trim that little bit of age crust off. This is my buck I killed the other day. He's been hanging in the cooler for a couple days, so. There's that. And I like to make them into steaks or roasts. I cut my other one. I forgot to hit record on the camera. So I already did one hindquarter, but it's all into steaks. This one I'm gonna leave a couple roasts for whatever. I like to do about 3/4 to 1 inch steaks. I have a little roast there I can do whatever with later. Knuckle, cut that kneecap off. You don't need that anymore. And it's in pretty good shape yet, so I'm not going to trim that one. Cut this little piece of silver skin and fat off. Sometimes if you let them hang too long, they get a real thick crust on them, and I'm sure you guys know how that goes. I'm sure some of you have done that before. You just trim it off. It's a bummer, you lose some meat, but it comes with the territory. You get that crust because there's no fat to cover the meat really. A lot of times on beef or whatever, you're able to age it longer because there's that crust over it, and your meat's still mostly salvageable. You don't have to worry about cutting that crust off. But being that venison doesn't have a lot of fat to it, you build a crust. The longer you wait to cut it, the bigger that crust gets, the more you lose. Personally, if I wasn't waiting to film, I would have cut this probably the day after I killed it. But it's been a busy couple weeks, and I figure, you know what? I'm gonna let it hang for a couple days. I needed to get a new tripod anyways, so it worked out. Anyways, I digress. Back to cutting. The knuckle, just leaving 2 roasts. That can go later into crock pot or jerky or whatever. All right, and then this one, I trim that fat off. Now this one, there is a meat cap on it. I like to take that cap off, just because, I don't know, I'm weird, I guess. With that, I'll just toss it in the grind. All right, fat's gone. Nice pre-roast. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with that. I'll cut steaks. Roast, that one will be jerky later. All right, so that's how you do a hindquarter. It's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. It's just like taking it apart anyway else. You've got seams, you just follow it, take your time, go slow. And then once you get your primals broke down, you cut it into however you want those roasts to be. It's pretty basic. Lots of guys are doing it themselves anymore. There's no reason you can't. It's obviously pretty dang easy. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, now I'm gonna move on and bone out these shoulders. Okay, this is the way I do it. You're probably gonna say it's the wrong way. It don't matter to me though. I do it this way, it works. All right, go down there, cut right up that bone. Right here's that elbow joint, or shoulder joint, I don't know. Whatever joint that is. You can feel right there's the edge of the blade. So you follow down that. You start peeling that meat off of the shoulder blade. That part. Do the same thing on the other underside. you got a saw or whatever, you can leave these and make blade steaks or whatever you want to do with it. You can leave it as a whole shoulder to roast. I like to take my shoulders and, if they're not too blown up, run them as jerky. That's the easiest way to please everybody. Once again, shanks go in the grind pile. Blade off, discard the blade. We'll keep this and cook that down later for bone broth again as well. Alright, now this piece that was the inside of the blade, cut that little bit of nasty off. Throw that in the grind pile. Cut that piece off. Cut that fat. That's pretty good. Throw this piece in the grind. Now we got this chunk of the muscle. Trim that chunk of fat off. There's a big piece of fat that runs through it. Do that. Got that. All right, there's a good jerky roast. Now this piece, the big muscle, take that flap, throw it in the grind. All right, then we got the big good muscle there. A little bit of bloodshot in this one, but it'll be all right. We'll cut the outside of that off. Just that little outer skin. All right, and there's another good jerky roast. All right, so I did a hind quarter and a shoulder for you. I'll go ahead and I'll trim up a backstrap just so you can see what that's like. That's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll do it anyways. With your hands, you can just get in there and bust that silver skin off. Top layer of it anyways. All right, make a layer out of it. Now you can leave that on and cut it that way anyways. I'm going to pull that piece off and that'll go into jerky meat as well. All right. Okay, now we're down to that silver skin. Peel that off. Throw silver skin away. All right, this is the way I like to do it. Some guys will just cut it like this and trim it later. For me, I like to do it now. That way I'm handling it once. I don't have to trim it again before I cook it. Cut that tendon off. But yeah, just go underneath the silver skin. You lose a hair of meat with this, not a whole lot, depending how sharp your knife is. All right, there's your back strap. I like to cut it into like thirds, roughly. This one will get quartered. All right, so now I'll show you how to trim your tenderloin. You're just shaving that outside off. Get any blood clot or gut that maybe have leaked. You know, sometimes we get excited and don't pay super close attention when we're gutting. And there's a tenderloin. So there you go. That's halfway done, actually over halfway done. And it's pretty simple, pretty basic. There's no reason you can't do it at home. If you want to have somebody do it, take it to a professional. It'll be wrapped and nice for you. They can make you sausages or whatever. I generally don't cut anymore. I do a few a year just so I can say that I'm still a processor, so I can still validate deer tags. But yeah, you got to, I only do a select few customers a year. So maybe you'll be a lucky one, maybe you won't be. But I can definitely recommend people to help you, or I can make I've always made you a video, you can take a look and see. Or if you need more hands-on instruction, we might be able to work something out there too. So just let me know, and good luck to you guys. Hopefully I did this good enough where it helps you. I appreciate you watching. If you like it, go ahead and click subscribe, and tell your friends, share it. Follow me on Instagram at ButcherShopTaxidermy, Facebook the same, and yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Happy hunting.